Hi, welcome to DittDott. My name is Amanda. So today we're going to be making a fall harvest salad. I found this recipe on Pinterest and it sounds so good, and we are straight up in fall. So the methods of this salad, it's more of a long, slow process, but I'm sometimes all about, sometimes I like taking it slow and sometimes I want to get dinner on the table quickly. So I took her idea for a salad and I found some shortcuts that we can use to make it go quicker. I will link the original recipe down below in the description box, but here's my take on it. So let's get started. The original recipe calls for roasted butternut squash, and anybody knows that like going through the process of peeling a butternut squash and cubing it up, that can take a while just on its own. So in your freezer section, you should be able to find pre-cut butternut squash. A tip when you are cooking frozen, when you want to roast frozen foods, is to go ahead and preheat your oven, and while it's preheating, put the cookie sheet, ooh, this is really hot, 475. Put the cookie sheet in the oven to preheat. So now this is super hot. I'm going to use an olive oil or avocado spray. I might be using both because this one is almost empty. I'm going to generously spray it, and then being very careful because this is hot, we're going to spread out our butternut squash, trying to separate any that are stuck together. We want to do this quickly because we want to get it back in the oven. Where'd my salt go? Oh, I moved my salt for the next step. Forgot I need it for this step. So I'm going to go ahead and salt, and if you want to pepper it too, you can. And then I'm going to go ahead and spray the butternut squash again, and then we'll put it back in the oven while we are making the dressing. We'll just keep our eye on this. It also calls for quinoa. So I found this quinoa that is also frozen. And normally I don't like prepared foods, but the only ingredients are quinoa, extra virgin olive oil, and sea salt. That's how I'd make it at home. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the shortcut here. All right, let's go over here and make some dressing. We're gonna start by making a very simple apple cider vinegar vinaigrette. Apple cider vinegar vinaigrette. So we're gonna start by trying to create a little bit of an emulsion with using some Dijon mustard. I'm gonna put a couple teaspoons down, maybe actually a tablespoon. And we're going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil and whisk. And then as I add more olive oil, I'm going to continue whisking. And I want to incorporate this olive oil and this mustard in together. I'm going to stop and see where I'm at. I want the mustard to be like a complete paste. You don't want like a pool of olive oil on top. So we're incorporating them together. I don't care that my bowl is spinning, it just kind of helps. If you have a pour spout like this, that's good. So you can see right here, my olive oil is pooled on top. So I'm gonna slow down and whisk vigorously until it is now incorporated. I'll do that one more time. So again, if you go too fast, your oil will be on top. Whisk vigorously, and I love this little wire whisk right here for making salad dressings. It just really gets in there in a small bowl and whisks tightly. So next I'm going to use my rasp, and I'm going to start with 1 garlic clove. Most recipes, when it says 1 garlic clove, you immediately want to double or triple it. But when you're eating it raw, start with 1 and taste, because 1 might be just enough. So the rasp will basically make it into a garlic paste. I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper, not too much, and a pinch of salt, maybe a little bit more. And then I'm gonna add some maple syrup to this. Oh, yummy. Again, I wanna whisk to get that maple syrup in, and then we're gonna add a splash of apple cider vinegar. I like to buy apple cider vinegar with the mother. That means that it's actually got probiotics in it and it's really healthy for you. I'm gonna add just a splash and we're gonna taste it. This is, pretty strong. Apple cider vinegar is so good for your digestive health though. I don't want to slosh it over the edge. Smells good. I've never actually made this dressing before. I love making homemade dressings. Let's give it a taste. Oh, that's really good. Okay, it's tangy from the apple cider vinegar and the Dijon mustard. I don't think it needs any more garlic. If you like it a little bit sweeter, like for my kids, I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit more maple syrup. I would like it this way, but you know, my kids are gonna want it a little bit sweeter. So I'm gonna do that, get that stirred in and taste it again. This is a really nice dressing. Yeah, love it. Okay. So let's go on to the next step. Well, let's check on our butternut squash real quick. Okay, so I just peeked in on the butternut squash. I'm gonna let them go a little bit longer and then I'll probably flip them once. It was funny, I was gathering at the ingredients to make this salad, and I remember I had specifically bought sugar snap peas for this week. And I was like, that doesn't sound very fall. That's so weird. So I went back and looked at her recipe, and I'm like, no, that's not sugar nut. Oh, it's for the lo mein that I've got later in the week. And so that's like, that makes so much more sense. So no sugar snap peas in this. It would make sense. I hear that, Watson. I hear it. I actually don't prefer to buy this chopped kale. Like I was saying, the quinoa is a really good shortcut to take because it saves a lot of time. Quinoa can take 25-30 minutes to cook. This cut up kale, what I don't like is they process it with the stems in it, which if you're gonna cook it down in a soup or something would probably be okay. But in a salad, those stems are very hard to chew. Don't recommend necessarily. Fresh kale that they had at my grocery store was really sad looking this week. So I went ahead and bought, I mean, that's fresh, but it's pre-chopped. So I bought that. So I'm gonna kind of quickly go through. This bag isn't as bad. The last bag I had, oh my gosh, there were so many stems. So I'm just gonna kind of go through if you buy this pre-chopped, and if you buy it as whole kale, go ahead and just rip the leaves off of the stem and either toss out the stems, or if you ever make vegetable stocks, it's one of those really good ingredients to throw in a Ziploc bag, put in your freezer, and when you make a vegetable stock, you can pull it out. So I'm going to go ahead and pour in a small amount of this dressing, and I'm gonna massage these kale leaves because we actually kind of want them to break down a little bit. That way they won't be quite as tough. Okay, let's go ahead and pull these out and flip them over. See, even frozen, you can get actually really good color on frozen vegetables by doing that little trick of preheating the cookie sheet. So it's not going to take too much more time on the other side, and we can talk about these pecans. So I sauteed them in a skillet with just a little bit of butter. If you're vegan, you can use olive oil, and another touch of the maple syrup. Her original recipe did not call to candy the pecans, but I decided that actually sounded really good. So I wanted to add candied pecans. And since I bought whole pecans, I'm actually just giving them a quick chop, and then we'll toss them into our salad. Oh, it's already looking so good. Okay, pulled those out. Again, in her recipe, she has amounts for things. Y'all know I don't cook with recipes, so I'm just gonna kind of go with what looks good for this salad. So I'm gonna cut open this quinoa, and I wanna salt it because, well, let me taste it. I've never actually used this product before. Ah, it smells good. Yeah, it's good. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt though. The ingredients on it were olive oil and sea salt, but I wanna add a little bit more salt and then a pat of butter. Okay, instead of butter, actually, I'm gonna go ahead and get a little bit of this dressing and just toss it directly onto the quinoa. That way it'll kind of flavor it up. That's good. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna just go ahead and use all of this bag. Now, quinoa is a decent way to get some protein in. There's 5 grams of protein per serving, and there's 2.5 servings in this bag. So, I mean, it's not a ton, but let's use our actual tossers, our spoons, and then we're gonna add in I'm like all over the place, aren't I? So, you know, filming makes this take a little bit longer. If I was making this dish and I wasn't worried about where my camera was, I could see this salad coming together super quick. And it's healthy, it's delicious. It's got some, you know, interesting flavors. Flavors that I don't cook with necessarily all the time, but I love them, so I should. Okay, so next I'm gonna add in pepitas. These are already pre-roasted and salted. Again, taking the shortcut. Add how many you like. Cranberries are going to add a little bit of tart sweetness and a pretty color to it too. Can you imagine? I'm like, when I pulled out the sugar snap peas, I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. It totally, I mean, why not? But there's no rules. There's no rules. If you want sugar snap peas in your fall salad, go for it. Okay, let's see how to open up this. This is feta cheese. I would have bought pre-crumbled, but the pre-crumbled for this, actually less than this one, was $7. Ugh. And that's one of the downsides of the pre-prepped quinoa. You're taking the shortcut, but it does cost more, like a lot more. But this feta cheese that I can't open. Oh, okay, there we go. For pre-crumbled was like $7, but this one was like $2.50. So we'll do some of our own crumbling. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, there's a little piece of paper on it. It's packaged in whey. Just kind of chopping this up and we'll add it to the salad. It's going to add a little bit of creaminess. Of course, if you're vegan, you can find an appropriate substitute or leave it out completely. Add the rest of the dressing. Okay, I'm gonna clean up and be right back. Let's give this another toss. Get that feta broken up in there. Looks delicious. I cannot wait to eat some of this. That's so good. Man, sweet, salty, tangy. Oh my gosh, so delicious. Can't wait to see what the kids say. I mean, these aren't necessarily their favorite ingredients, but hi, Watson. He's like, I'll taste it. These aren't necessarily their favorite ingredients, but I think they'll like it. I will update at the end of the video and let you know. Popping back in, at this point I've already finished the video, but I was looking at the salad and I'm like, it's missing something. I forgot the apples, and I really don't want to have the salad without the apples. It just sounds like it would really add just a whole nother level of sweetness. These are Honey Crisp. I almost used a Granny Smith, but I think adding more of a sweet apple to this, and that's what she suggests too, is a sweet apple. Oh, it's got a little bruise, so I will cut that part off. Oh, I should have given that to my dog. Watson loves apples. Just for that, I'll save him a slice. Watson, that's it. Leave it. Leave it. You're going to be gentle, right? Ah! You're going to be gentle. Leave it. Take. There, that's gentle. Good boy. So I'm just going to cut these into some big pieces. I think it'll add really pretty color and texture. I don't know if I'll maybe make this the new ending. Maybe I'll put the other ending down as a blooper roll. We'll see. I just love to challenge myself in editing. All right, let's go ahead and toss these apples in, and we'll give it another taste with the apple. Oh yes, definitely. Oh, that's so much even prettier. I'm gonna get some of that feta cheese. I'm just eating out of the serving dish again. Okay. This is not a TV bite. This is a giant bite. Make this salad. It is good. It is so good. I like the quinoa. It gets a really good nutty flavor in the background. Highly recommend. I'm gonna put the other ending in. I'll see y'all later. Bye. For another fall dish though, make sure you check out my weeknight chili. It is so good. And until the next video, hit that subscribe button so you know when it comes out, and the notification bell, and I'll see you then. Bye.